Hi and welcome to CBN4's Primetime News Package for today. I'm your presenter, Alian Christopher. Let's take a look at the headlines. 965 students to write the Grade 6 National Assessment this week. The Ministry of Health and Social Services to hold study on migration of health workers in the Caribbean. And a candlelight vigil held for a fallen angel. Stay tuned for these and other stories when CBN4's Primetime News returns. We'll be right back.
Sweet talk, dear man, have a lot of that. Yes, I. You don't know it's your boy Trilogy, urging everybody, young and old, to stay strong and stay healthy. We don't know we're doing it for 2018. Boom.
And welcome back. The Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development will administer the annual Grade 6 National Assessment, where 965 students are set to write the exams on Thursday, June 14th and Friday, June 15th, 2018. 475 students are girls and 490 students are boys. Fanny James has more details.
This number represents a 4% decrease from last year, when 1,010 students sat the exam. The examinations are scheduled to begin at 8 a.m. with an assembly at 7:45 at 52 centers around the island. On day 1, students will be tested on language arts and social studies, while on day 2, mathematics and science will be administered. With the exception of language arts, all exams will be single multiple choice papers. The language arts examination will consist of 2 components, a 60-item multiple choice paper and a composition paper. The Grade 6 National Assessment was pushed back 2 weeks in effort to help facilitate schools which lost instructional time as a result of the passage of Hurricane Maria in September 2017. The Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development advises parents that they are not to be allowed at testing centers while the examinations are in progress.
In other news, the government of Dominica continues to demonstrate a desire to assist families directly affected by the passage of Hurricane Maria by addressing the need for safe and resilient housing across the country. The Dominica government officially launched the construction of apartment buildings for the Northern Housing Project in Georgetown and Cotton Hill, Portsmouth.
This project is tangible evidence of the dreams of the new Portsmouth, which we will realize. In 2009, a Citizens Commission of senior and capable Portsmouth people was formed. And after months of deliberation, the Portsmouth Development Plan was formulated, which developed a roadmap for the development of the town for the next generation. We are starting with this first 68 units, but the ultimate Phoenix development will see the completion of 226 units, all fitted and with a brand new fire station, a new police station, basketball courts, tennis courts, an administrative building with a theater for the performing arts and other amenities.
Ian Douglas further noted that in this plan, the Georgetown area was cited for residential and industrial development. He said the plan also spoke of an administrative building which will be a reality in this development.
We have always felt that with the advent of the electronic age and the new West Coast Road, the connectivity between the capital and the second town has been enhanced. And so certain critical government services available in the city should be brought to the town of Portsmouth. And so we welcome the establishment of the administrative building in this project. So the immigration department could issue passports right here. The traffic department could issue license from Portsmouth. The Inland Revenue and the VAT division could have an office right here. The sub-treasury and the registry could issue birth certificates right here. The education and the sports divisions could have offices right here in Portsmouth. The Prime Minister will have an office right here in Portsmouth. The PAL rep would have a proper office. The mayor and the council will also have offices in this administrative building.
Parliamentary Representative for Portsmouth, Ian Douglas. The Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization, PAHO, WHO, has launched a new study that will survey current migration trends of healthcare workers in the Caribbean region. The results of the survey will be used to develop recommendations and address the challenges that migration poses for the health sector of countries involved.
The study will be conducted over a 3-month period in 16 CARICOM countries and territories: Belize, Guyana, Jamaica, Suriname, Trinidad, Turks and Caicos Islands, and the English-speaking islands of the OECS. Dominica's coordinator for the study, Principal Nursing Officer Terella Ravalier, endorses and welcomes the study. It will readdress immensely the challenges that migration of health workers poses not just to Dominican population, but to the Caribbean. It would be very beneficial to the Ministry of Health as well. We are currently faced with the nursing migration issue. We are appreciative of the study as it will not only seek to address nursing migration, but migration within the entire health sector, as human resource for health is significant, she said. The outcome of the survey will inform policy on health workforce migration in the Caribbean and contribute to the implementation of WHO and PAHO Global Code of Practice on the international recruitment of health personnel. The situation with regards to healthcare workers in the Caribbean and in most countries in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States is critical, with many persons opting to leave the region for better working conditions, higher salaries, and better job security, said Erica Willer, PAHO Sub-Regional Advisor on Human Resources for Health. The latest projections from World Health Organization and the World Bank reveal that the migration and shortages of healthcare workers in the Americas and particularly in the Caribbean region are impacting significantly on health systems and services. The problem is global in nature, with health workforce mobility increasing to meet the estimated 40 million new healthcare jobs required to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals related to health by 2030. The PAHO Office of the Caribbean Sub-Regional Program Coordination, with support from PAHO's Department of Health Systems and Services, is working to address migration-related shortages of human resources for health in the Caribbean. The recently approved PAHO strategy on human resource for universal health urges countries to increase a public investment in human resource for health, especially at the first level of care. The strategy aims to guide national policies to cover a shortfall for nearly 800,000 health workers in the region of the Americas. As healthcare workers continues to leave the Caribbean, the study's finding will help countries address future health systems needs in human resource for health.
And we'll be back with more news right after this break. And welcome back. Minister for the Environment, Climate Resilience, Disaster Management and Urban Renewal, Honorable Joseph Isaac, is calling on farmers across Dominica to practice organic agriculture, sustainable agriculture and resilient agriculture, as this would help in the fight against chronic, non-communicable diseases.
Our people are sick with chronic, non-communicable diseases. Too many of our people are not properly nourished with the foods that we consume. We want to ensure that we increase vegetable production so that prices of vegetables are required for good nutrition can go down and become affordable for the ordinary man. We want to minimize the use of agrochemicals in our agricultural practice to protect our wildlife and our water sources. We hope you understand that the funds for these activities are coming from the Global Environmental Facility, supported by government with resources, human resource by government, and government is completely and totally committed to the development of Dominica in general, and to help you develop your own enterprises and to ensure that your livelihood is restored in a sustainable way.
Isaac also urged the farmers to utilize the funds obtained for the right purposes.
Cannot show what they do with the money that will be tied to future contribution by government. So if you fail, then you fail to even attract future engagements. Because we have to take this thing serious. If we give you, we put in our name on the line, because we really want Dominica to develop. We put in you first. We put in complete trust in you. So we want you to take the resources and do what you said that you were going to do in the project.
He said the funds for these activities are coming from the Global Environmental Facility and has provided funds for the buffer zone for the Mont Trapiton National Park World Heritage Site.
That the project donors, that is UNDP, agreed to reassign and realign the resources so that your livelihood could be restored. I also want to congratulate the steering committee for negotiating on behalf of you, the beneficiaries. We are happy with the job they have done thus far, although we think the pace of the project implementation needs to increase. So we are depending on you to help the project steering committee to increase the pace of the project. Having succeeded with these negotiations, we ask you to consider that there are conditions for issuing those funds. You must avoid the use or the abuse as I said, of agrochemicals and consider, as I want to reiterate, organic agriculture so that we can increase production in Dominica. We thank you for your patience, and we thank Jeff and UNDP for the collaboration.
And with just 12 days gone into the 2018 Atlantic hurricane season and the possibility of an increase in mosquitoes more than we've already been seeing, homeowners, business owners, village councils should consider getting rid of unwanted breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Breeding grounds can be old tires, uncovered drums, tins, bottles, drains, and even stagnant ravines. Well, this is what CBN4 found, a stagnant ravine in the Kinfield area.
As the rainy season begins, residents are asked to take care of their surroundings in order to reduce the rise in mosquitoes. One should monitor his environment to get rid of objects which serves as breeding grounds. Containers such as empty bottles, tin cans, used tires, just to name a few. CBN4 stumbled on this site. It's stagnant water in the mouth of the Old Mill River, draining at Donkey Beach. The scent here is unbearable. Definitely a breeding site for mosquitoes. Just 2 weeks ago, the river, the upper section of the river, was cleared, but this section at Donkey Beach remains as a disturbing site. This particular site where we stand is of great concern to us, not only at CBN4 but for residents and users of the area. CBN4 hopes that persons responsible for the environment sees this report and acts on it immediately. Fanny James reporting for CBN4 News.
And also in the news, residents of Bath Estate, the young and old, and many other persons throughout the country showed their respects last night during a candlelight vigil for a fallen angel, Natalia Matthew. Scores of persons turned out in large numbers singing songs on the site where the 10-year-old Matthew was knocked down by a pickup and subsequently lost her life. CBN4 understands that the candlelighting vigil was the brainchild of Josiah Modest and bouillon artist Kenny G. And President of the Dominica Olympic Committee, former international cricket umpire Billy Doctrove, has described his first year as the DOC president interesting. Doctrove said it has been a great and a learning experience for him and the many members of the executive. May 18, 2018 marked 1 year since the new Dominica Olympic Committee executive came into office for the term 2017 to 2021. In light of this, the DOC scheduled a press conference to give a brief analysis of the current affairs of the DOC and update on the progress made over the last year and the proposed way forward.
On the evening of May 18, 2017, little did I anticipate the level of difficulty that we would have been confronted with. During my first address after the election, I highlighted the need for us to attempt to win the confidence and trust of the Dominican people in the Dominica Olympic Committee, as it was obvious that the consensus among the populace was one of frustration, despondence, and mistrust as allegations of mismanagement and scandal followed in quick succession. The reputation of the Dominica Olympic Committee declined to an all-time low. This was priority, for without the confidence of the Dominican people, we would be fighting a losing battle. It was a long journey, and in fact, it is still a work in progress. But based on the feedback from a multitude of persons, to the executive members and myself, I can justifiably come to the conclusion that our efforts are bearing fruit and we are heading in the right direction.
During his address, Doctrove also mentioned the loss and damage of important documents and newly purchased furnitures.
Like most other individuals and institutions and organizations in Dominica, our programs and plans were severely disrupted by the destructive visit of Maria. Our offices were damaged, and much of our furniture and documents were either damaged or destroyed. What was even more heart-wrenching was that we had just bought much of our furniture literally 1 week before Maria. But as I said, life must go on. Another early priority on our agenda was the start of a search for a change of location of our office, as we were of the view that what existed did not do justice to an institution as noble and prestigious as the Dominica Olympic Committee. Thankfully, we were blessed in our search, as we have been blessed and spiritually guided in most of our decisions, in that we were fortunate to locate new premises just next door to where we were, so the moving process was relatively straightforward.
The President also highlighted the fact that many representatives of national associations had not visited the office of the DOC for many years and for a variety of reasons, but has since seen a drastic turnaround in regular visits from these representatives. And that's how we come to the end of tonight's Primetime News Package. On behalf of the entire CBN4 staff, I am Alan Christopher saying thank you for joining us.